In this video, we are going to learn how to create this orb. This you could see is the same orb, it's just from which point you see would look different. So if you look from the top, it looks different, and if you look from here, it looks different. And in the previous videos, we made this dark purple one, and then this aqua effect one, and this video we will make this one. Then in future, I will add the lava rock kind of stuff, and then this mud ball or dirt ball. All the textures used and all would be available on my website. It's work in progress, but you could go to this page, scroll down. Again, I have to add like all the stuff, but there would be like the videos for this one. So for example, first video with the texture that I used, and then also I will be providing these files in my Patreon for free. So you could get all the 5 orbs from my Patreon for free if you want to just download and play. And again, I am using some third-party textures in here, which are made by Screaming Brain Studio, which you could actually get for free. They are also provided for CC0. So I will also be linking it on my website. And in future, if I create more orb videos, I will just add it on this page so that you could keep scrolling down and keep looking in what would look good and what like different type of orbs basically, instead of trying to search everywhere from my like channel and all that stuff. And again, if you guys have any suggestion how I can improve this website, just let me know. I'm just trying to make it so that I can organize stuff and then also have all of it available on my website. And again, if you go to the textures, you will find free textures that I've made. So all of these are CC0, these are made by me on this texture speed. So you could go in here and just get anything that you want. So let's get started. One more thing I can show you is how it looks in my hand, like this. So this is what I had planned. I wanted it to be moving like circular while facing the character, but you could see that this is how it's looking from all directions. So you could make the mesh face always the character and stuff if you want, so that it always spins like this. So I am just simply going to use a sphere. So this is the sphere that I'm using. It's basic UV sphere that is like provided by Unreal Engine, or you could just use from Blender too, just a basic UV sphere. And then let's create a material. Okay, I will turn this into a material instance so that you could create variations and stuff. So maybe you want to have the same effect but different colors or different speed. You could just create material instances for it. That is usually how you should make material instance orbitals with parameters to control. Then let's open a tutorial pink. I just name it anything, okay, and turn the roughness to 1, specular to 0. This is again personal choice, depends on what type of design you want. I will choose unlit. Basically nothing should be affecting, like other lights and all would not affect, and this would give us emissive option only. Again, comes down to preference. And the reason why I'm opening this is because there are some set values that I use so that it looks properly, like I tested it multiple times. But usually if you check like the previous water one, then I showed how I create like each element separately and add them. But for this one, I have to kind of go by like checking this previously created one. So first of all, we'll create a texture, and I am using this texture, which I will link in description. It is made by Screaming Brain Studio. It's not made by me. It's also CC0, and I'm using Super Perlin 11 from that one. I'll link it in description, the whole file. It will be in my website, not in my description. It would be probably in this wherever this section is. Okay, let's do it. You could convert this to a text parameter, I mean, like something, so that you could change this in your material instance. Like in your material instance, you will get now the option. It's not connected. Okay, you will now get the option to change it from here. So you could see that if you look from the top, because it's an UV sphere, the whole texture comes up and meets it at this point. But if you look from the side, it is like this. So it just comes down to how you orient it. Next thing we will do is we will use a panner. Hold P and do left click or search for panner and move it up, or maybe negative, like this. So I'm doing negative, Let's do negative this and then move it slightly so that it rotates like this. This works properly if the texture is, you can see the texture goes from like bottom right to top left like this diagonally, because we are now moving it diagonally. You could see if you move it, let's say 0.2 maybe, it would go in like this. Okay, this looks better because I just moved it in this direction. So instead of doing 0.1, I did minus 0.1, and the texture is like this, right? So it looks better. Now for this texture, I'm using a bump offset to create this weird effect. I don't know how to tell you what to say this, but it creates some nice variation. Now if you guys don't know what bump offset is, it's basically like a parallax effect, fake parallax effect. So if I turn this to like this, you can see the bump. I will remove this. Okay, so right now I'll keep it this way and add it like this. Why is it not working? We need height. So right now you could see if I add this 3, it looks very basic, right? But if I do 9 minus negative 2, it's not much noticeable. Let's do minus 10. And you could see that it is not moving perfectly. You could see it is moving like a bit delayed. And what we basically did was, when we tried minus 10, we basically moved this texture inside basically. Okay, so let's see if I multiply this with a color, let's say a bluish color, and then I create another one, multiply this with, I guess, reddish color, and add both of them. This one needs to be minus 5. You could see that this red color looks like it's on top, and the black color, this purple color looks like it's in behind, because it's minus 5, minus 10. It's like a fake effect. Okay. So if I, instead of doing height like this, which is like making everything go negative 50 like this, I could take another texture. So I have used this one, Super Perlin 1 512 5. No, it's not 1. What is it? Like this one, Super Perlin 1. Okay. So I use this texture, and basically if I add it in here, you would see not much difference, because right now it's, again, if you know that this is going to be 0 to 1, right? So the highest value would be 1. If I add like a color ramp and then show you this one, so any pixel on that texture which is fully white would be 1, fully black would be 0, and again 0.5 would be like this color, 0.1 would be this color, 0.9 would be this color, and all that stuff. So again, a texture is nothing but values, different values. So right now 0 to 1 is not showing much difference. So if we multiply this by negative 10, you would see that there is some distortion, and the reason for that is simply because whichever pixel was like 1 turned to minus 10, whichever point was like 0 just stayed 0, because multiplied by 0 would be 0, 1 multiplied by minus 10 would be minus 10, and wherever there's like 0.5 would basically turn to minus 5, and all that values. So it creates like weird variation, and you could try with like different textures. So if I use like my other noise textures, where's the harsher one? There. So you could see this is like very harsh one, and you could see the difference properly. So this one was like something that I created accidentally, but it looks pretty good. And you could see, and you could even play with this height ratio input to like too much effect, like 0.5, 0.1, 0.05, oops, 0.05. That is the default one. But again, you could also play with this ratio. So instead of doing height, you could do like this too. Maybe 1. Yeah, like this too. So again, just comes down to how you want to do it. I just prefer to do this way. Now what I'll do is I'll add this, like this much part, to our coordinates around here. This one basically gives us coordinates too. And then let's just remove this much and let's see what we get. And you could see it gets this weird effect. Looks pretty cool to me. If you want, you could even pan this one, okay, to create some nice variations. So again, comes down to your preference. I'm just, if I turn this to spear back, you would see maybe negative, both of them. You could see we can create some nice effect. This one should not, I guess, be same. So you could see we can create very cool effects just by mixing both of this, and it kind of messes it up a bit to make it look nicer. I'm just going to keep it basic for now. Now let's do lerp and add it like this. Lerp basically means that wherever there is, I've explained it so many times, I don't know if I should be explaining in every single video, but a quick explanation would be, if I use 0, it will use this one. If I do 1, it would use this one. If I do 0.5, it would do half of both. So as the texture is 0 to 1 value, we can just add it, and wherever there is 0, we will use one color, whereas there is white, we will use one color, and wherever there is like grayish value, it will be mixture of both. So let's do, I guess, pink color, and let's do another pink color. If it looks like way too weird, it's because we need to make it like darker. So one of it should be darker, just play around with it. And you could see it's very easy to create like pretty cool effects. You know what, I will try one like different color for this video. Now if you look at this one and this one, there is a bit difference around here, okay? If I, let's say, move it 90 degree, even though they are pretty similar, they don't look good. Like this one doesn't look as good as this one. So why is that? Well, we need a Fresnel effect. Basically, this edge glow. Okay, I just changed a bit of a color so that it looks like much more presentable. So let's work on the edges. So let's add a Fresnel. Fresnel basically does is that whichever is like, it creates like a rim light, okay, based on the mesh. And again, this is like 1, and as we go to middle, it starts going to 0. Okay, so because it's a Fresnel. Okay, so if I take 2 and maybe do power of 2, I guess it should be harsher. Yeah. So with power, you could actually make it like much more harsher. So black values can increase and like this. Again, it depends on how much you want, like this, or 3, maybe 2.5. Okay, this looks good to me. If I take this and multiply both of them and add it to this, we get this effect. Why do we get this way? Because this is 1, in middle it's black, which basically means it's 0. It could be 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, because it's hard to tell from naked eyes, okay? But again, black basically means 0, white means 1. Anything multiplied by 0 would give us 0, which is black. Anything multiplied by 1 would give us the same exact value as previously, like 4 times 4 is, sorry, 4 times 1 is 4, 25 times 1 is 25. So whatever is the value in here, we get perfect of this. Wherever there's black, we get 0, and wherever it is in center, like let's say this is 0.5, okay, then 25 times 0.5 would be half of it, which is like 12.5. So basically that's what I'm saying. It basically reduces the effect a bit and creates like this nice variation. Now once we have done this, we can basically add both of it, okay? So from the default one, like this one, I want to add just this edge one on top of it, and we get some nice rim light. But if I want to increase the intensity of this one, so I want it to be a bit more stronger, I can multiply this. So I can just take this, multiply this, so whatever values are in here, just intensify by 50, and then maybe not this much, 20, and we get this rim light. Okay, again, play around with values until you find something that looks nicer. We get this nice rim light with some variations too. Now to do even more effect, which I showed in like the last video on this distortion, how to do some distortion for the Fresnel, we can take a texture and basically add to the normal and we get some distortion like this. But what we are doing is we are basically just telling that take this as the normal, okay? But that would also mean that it just starts doing this. So wherever there is white, it like shows us fully white and stuff like that. So what we want is we actually want to use vertex normal. Now vertex normal is just the normal of our mesh. If I showed you this, these are the vertex normal, okay? And basically this, I think this is what's used for Fresnel calculation. So anything that is like perpendicular to us, like this lines, would be white. Anything that is like pointing straight to us would be 0, and that's how Fresnel is created. So when we add this texture to the normal, it just gets weird, I think, because it's just taking 0 to 1 value based on like this texture, right? Vertex normal is literally the same, nothing, no changes. So what we will say is that I want to add this value, so 0 to 1 values on this vertex normal. So you know how there was like this normals which are like pointing everywhere. We are basically just adding like 0 or 1 or like any 0.5, 0.3, anything like this to like this points, and basically creating some distortion which changes the effect. So if I add it to the vertex normal, give it to the normal, we get this effect, and you could say it's very huge. It's too much right now. So a way we can reduce it is by multiplying this by a lower value. So let's say 0.1. Now how do I know 0.1 would lower it? Well, the highest value in here is 1. Okay, because it's black and white, right? So 0 and 0 is the lowest, 1 is the highest, which is like white. So if I multiply by 0.1, the highest value would be 0.1, because the highest is 1. 1 times 0.1 is 0.1. Lowest is 0. So 0 times anything would be 0. So now the value is from 0 to 0.1. So all effect just reduces. So you could even increase it a bit if you want. And then it creates some nice variation. And if you want, you could even pan this. You could see, just depends whether you want to do this or not, like panning. Again, these values need to be different from this, or else both would be synced and it would be like not much difference. I don't know if I panned in the first one. Let's see if I panned. No, I just multiplied it directly from here. So instead of doing all of this, what I simply did was I took this texture which is already panning and just added it here. So basically it's synced right now, but I think it still looks good. You could see. And just increase the speed. Is there anything that is left? Let me see. Nope, nothing's left. And just now change, just do one thing, just like turn everything into like parameter, like offset, height, like -10, and just turn everything that should be turned into like material, like anything that should be turned into parameters like this texture, like this value to, like you could call it like Fresnel distortion intensity to like 0.2. Could even turn this into like different colors, so like color 1, color 2, like this. And now you could just go into your material instance and quickly change the values to whatever you want. Like this one should be red, and this one should be red, this one should be blue, this one should be green. Like just play around. Basically allows you to create more variations, so without having to play or change the what you call the main shader. So you could see That's why we create material instance. Just keep in mind to turn any value that you need to change, like this one, like this Fresnel, this one to this final intensity. You could type a final intensity. Actually, you should add it like after this one more, which would basically be final intensity. If you want to increase like the whole stuff intensity, this one would be like Fresnel intensity and all that stuff. So yeah, that's all we have for this video. Again, in the next video we will create this too. And again, consider subscribing, liking, go to this website, get like my textures, check my Patreon. It helps me run this website and also this channel. So yeah, goodbye.